Warned my girlfriend that party wasn't worth it, but she rolled her eyes and left. Decided to check for myself and found her whispering to a guy in the corner. He met my gaze, smirked, and said, "She's with me now." I smiled, dropped her suitcase in front of him, and said, "Then she's your problem." When she returned to our apartment, she learned she didn't live there anymore. I don't even know where to start, but I guess from the beginning is best. My name's Travis. I'm 31, work full-time as a mechanic at a local garage in Tempe, Arizona. I've lived here most of my life, and I'm not some hothead or paranoid boyfriend. I've always believed if you're with someone, you trust them. That's how I was raised. I met Marissa at a coffee shop off University Drive about 3 years ago. She was loud, funny, wore a jean jacket covered in random patches, and had this energy like she owned every room she stepped into. I liked that about her. We hit it off fast. A few weeks later, we were spending every night together. She had dreams. Big ones. Said she wanted to build a brand, start her own lifestyle channel, and be her own boss. At first, I didn't understand what that meant, but I supported her. Bought her a ring light, paid for a better phone with a nicer camera, helped her with editing apps even though I hated messing with that stuff. We moved in together after a year. Things were solid. She did her influencer thing. I fixed engines. She'd show me her videos. I didn't always get them, her putting on makeup or talking about outfits, but I'd smile and say they looked good. That's what you do for someone you love. But things started changing. She'd get these DM notifications and turn her phone over real fast. Her schedule got too busy to grab dinner with me. She'd go to content parties and come home smelling like cologne and tequila. I'd ask who she was with, and she'd brush me off. Said I was acting controlling. Controlling? Me? I worked long hours, kept my head down, paid most of the bills, and stayed out of her way. The more I gave, the less she seemed to notice. Then one night she said she had a brand event. Some pool party, rented house, big influencer crowd. She dressed up like she was going clubbing, tight black dress, new heels, full makeup at 6 p.m. I stood in the kitchen watching her get ready. "Who's throwing this party again?" I asked. "Just some friends I know through IG," she said, barely glancing at me. "You sure this is something you should be at alone?" She paused, then looked at me in the mirror. "Don't start this again." I wasn't trying to start anything. I was trying to understand. Every time she went out, she came back colder. And I felt more and more like a roommate she barely tolerated. "You've been acting different, Marissa," I said, plain and calm. She rolled her eyes and laughed under her breath. "You're so dramatic." "No. I'm being real. I know something's off." "Jesus, Travis. You're jealous I have a life outside of this apartment." I didn't answer. Just nodded. She grabbed her purse, shot me a look like I was the problem, and walked out the door. That was the last straw. I sat on the couch for about 20 minutes, heart pounding. I told myself not to care. Not to do anything stupid. But then I remembered something. She'd left her iPad charging in the bedroom. And guess what was synced to it? Her messages. Her IG DMs. Everything. I wasn't even snooping. I just opened it, and there it was, messages between her and some guy named Blake. She'd met him at a previous party. The texts weren't innocent. Flirty. Late night. "You up?" Messages. Her sending pics. Him asking if he's still around. And her saying, "He's too clueless to notice." That was me. I was the clueless one. I saw the address for the party that night. Some luxury Airbnb up near Papago Park. Looked like half the guest list had already tagged the location in their stories. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my keys and left. When I got there, music was blasting, neon lights lit up the yard, and people were already drunk, half naked, posing for videos. I scanned the crowd and finally spotted her. In the corner, near the pool house. She was talking close to some guy, tall, muscle shirt, designer chain, big white smile. They were laughing, and then she leaned in like she was whispering in his ear. He smiled. She touched his chest. She looked up and saw me. Her whole face changed. Like she saw a ghost. He turned to look, too, locking eyes with me. And then, the moment I'll never forget, he smirked. She's with me now, he said, loud enough to cut through the music. I didn't blink. Just looked at her, then back at him. And I smiled. Turned around. Drove home. I packed her overnight bag. She kept it in our closet for trips or emergencies. Stuffed it with clothes, makeup, charger. Everything she'd need for a few days. Drove right back to the house. She was still there. So was he. I walked up to the front steps, found him leaning against the wall like a smug punk. Dropped the suitcase at his feet. Then she's your problem now. And I left. Didn't wait for her to follow. Didn't look back. Got home, threw her other stuff into trash bags. Nothing expensive, just the stuff she always left lying around. I changed the locks that night. Called the landlord the next morning, told him we'd broken up, and the lease was going under my name only. He knew me, been a good tenant for years. He didn't ask questions. When she showed up around noon that Sunday, still wearing the same dress from the night before, she banged on the door like a maniac. Travis! Open the F*******ing door. I didn't. She screamed. Cried. Threatened to call the cops. Call them, I said through the door. Tell them what? That your ex changed the locks after you cheated on him? There was silence. Then sobbing. I didn't cheat. You didn't have to. I saw enough. She begged. Said she messed up? Said she'd been drinking? That it didn't mean anything. That I was the only one who ever supported her. You should have thought about that before you climbed into his lap, I said, voice flat. Then I walked away. Let her stand there crying. And for the first time in months, the apartment was quiet. And I could breathe. The silence didn't last long. That next week, she started a war. At first, it was messages. Long ones. Then short ones. Then voice notes. Apologies. Excuses. Begging. Telling me she missed me. That she loved me. That what happened that night wasn't what it looked like. I didn't answer. Then came the switch. You're a piece of shit, she texted. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. She started telling mutual friends a twisted version of what happened. Said I was controlling, insecure, even emotionally abusive. Claimed I locked her out after a harmless party. Told people I was violent, that she was scared of me. I didn't defend myself. Not yet. But the whispers were getting louder. Friends I'd known for years started acting different. Avoiding me. Not replying. I got unfollowed by a dozen people on Instagram in 2 days. Then one of her followers messaged me. Said Marissa was going live to expose the truth. I didn't watch it. But I heard about it fast. She cried on camera. Said I was jealous of her career. That I tried to keep her from growing. Claimed I stalked her, tracked her location, humiliated her. And the part that really got me? She said she'd been emotionally manipulated by me for years. A few people believed her. Too many. That's when I realized this wasn't just about a breakup anymore. She was trying to ruin my name. That week, I lost a side gig working with a local car club. They said they couldn't have drama tied to their brand. Didn't even ask for my side of the story. Just dropped me. I was pissed. But more than that, I felt humiliated. She got to keep her platform, her fans, her fake story. And I got silence. Shame. So I decided to fight back. Quietly. I didn't post a rebuttal. I didn't go live. I went back to that iPad. She'd forgotten it still had all her accounts linked. Rookie mistake. I started digging. Found old conversations. Ones with other guys, some from while we were together. Saw her trash-talking her best friends. Found photos she sent that would definitely kill her. Wholesome brand image. And then I found the jackpot. Screenshots of her and Blake planning to fake a breakup heartbreak arc for engagement. Messages where she joked about getting free sympathy followers once she got out of her boring mechanic relationship. She had planned to leave me publicly, use me, then cash in on the victim card. That's when I knew I wasn't just some casualty. I was a target. So I made a decision. I started collecting every message, every photo, every fake DM. I organized it all, printed backups. I didn't plan to post it, no. That would get me labeled as petty or worse. But I knew her biggest fear wasn't exposure. It was irrelevance. So I started with her sponsors. I made a new email. Pretended to be a concerned, longtime fan. Attached screenshots, just enough to make them uncomfortable. Showed her trashing their products in private DMs. Sent proof of her admitting she lied to her followers for clout. 3 brands dropped her in the same week. She posted a story crying, saying people were trying to cancel her. No one knew it was me. Next, I messaged her photographer. She used him for most of her paid content. Sent him proof she'd been using his photos without paying or tagging him. He was pissed. Started commenting on her posts publicly. Then came her mentor, an older influencer who'd helped her grow. I sent her a PDF full of screenshots showing how Marissa mocked her behind her back. Called her a washed-up hag in a group chat. That woman blocked her the next day. Wrote a vague tweet about snakes in the industry. I didn't stop there. She had applied for a brand ambassador trip to Mexico. I sent the company a tip. Included a few clips from a private story where Marissa joked about getting drunk and grinding on married guys. She was dropped from the shortlist. She started losing followers. Slowly at first. Then hundreds a day. And she had no idea who was doing it. Until she messaged me one night. You win. I know it's you. Just stop. I didn't answer. After she messaged me that night, I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd finally back off. But I underestimated how deep her pride ran. About 2 days later, I got served a restraining order. She filed it under the claim that I was digitally stalking and harassing her. Said I was damaging her career and emotional well-being. And even claimed she feared for her safety. I read through the paperwork at my kitchen table with a coffee in one hand and disbelief in the other. I hadn't gone near her. Hadn't spoken to her. I hadn't even left a trace that could connect back to me. Except for that iPad. I forgot she might realize her old device was still syncing to her accounts. But here's the thing, she didn't have proof I ever touched it. The restraining order? Pure theater. There was no court date, no evidence. It was just a scare tactic. Still, the damage was done. My landlord called me, asking what was going on. Apparently, she'd sent him a copy of the filing and told him I was unstable. That I shouldn't be living near other tenants. He knew me, though. He didn't believe it. But he made it clear. Travis, I like you, man. But if any cops show up, I'll have to protect my property. That was her new strategy. Make it look like I was the crazy one. Force me to react. But I didn't take the bait. Instead, I played it smarter. I reached out to a buddy of mine, Cody, who works in IT. Back in the day, we used to jailbreak phones and help people recover deleted files. I asked him to take a look at the iPad and the synced messages. He called me back 2 days later, laughing. Bro, she's dumber than I thought. She's been logging into your Netflix and Amazon, still thinks her Apple ID is clean. Cody helped me change the passwords, kick her off everything she still had access to, music, photos, saved passwords, even a few shopping carts. Petty? Maybe. But fair game. Then he handed me a folder. It had recovered voice notes. Ones she'd deleted. And that's when the game changed. She'd been recording herself while planning lies. practicing her voice, crying on command, even scripting parts of her abuse story. There were clips of her bragging about how easy it was to manipulate followers. How all you gotta do is cry and mention trauma. One clip stood out. I could say he hit me and people would believe it. Nobody questions a crying woman on camera. That was the moment I stopped feeling bad for her. Up until that point, a part of me thought maybe she was just lost, caught up in the online world. But hearing her talk like that, laughing, mocking people who trusted her? No. She knew what she was doing. She'd become dangerous. So I made one more move. I called my cousin Danielle. She's a lawyer out in Flagstaff. Told her everything. Showed her the messages, voice notes, the fake restraining order. She was furious. You need to get ahead of this, she said. I'll help you file a defamation claim. Even if it doesn't go all the way, it sends a message. So we did. Filed in small claims court. I didn't post about it. Didn't brag. Just let the paperwork get delivered to her new P.O. box. She went quiet. Completely. No posts. No stories. Her follower count dropped by the thousands again. Brands unfollowed her. Even her friends stopped tagging her. Then one night, about a month after it all started, I got a text. A number I didn't recognize. You ruined my life. I hope you're proud. You were never special. Just a stepping stone. I stared at it for a long time. Not because it hurt, but because it proved what I knew all along: she never loved me. She loved what I gave her. Stability. A place to grow her fake image. A man to hold her bags while she smiled for the camera. But the second I stopped being useful, I was disposable. Only now she'd run out of people to use. That text was the last straw. I didn't reply. Not because I had nothing to say. I had too much to say. But I knew replying would give her exactly what she wanted: another excuse to play the victim. She wanted me to snap. To say something she could screenshot, twist, and show the world. So I stayed quiet. But silence doesn't mean surrender. A few weeks passed. I kept my head down, worked double shifts, saved up cash. I didn't tell anyone what was coming next. See, Danielle, my lawyer cousin, wasn't just helping me file a defamation claim. She had an idea. Something clean, legal, and final. Marissa had violated 2 FTC guidelines with her influencer posts, undisclosed sponsorships, and fake testimonials. Danielle helped me report them. The FTC doesn't mess around. When they started looking, it all unraveled. Turns out Marissa had been paid under the table for a few promo deals, no contract, no taxes. On top of that, she'd reviewed products she never actually used. She even faked customer messages to make herself look more in demand. She got flagged. She lost her monetization account with a major brand. Then got blacklisted by a few more. And when one influencer blog picked up the story, it spread like wildfire. She tried to delete everything. Wiped her Instagram. Locked down her Twitter. Removed her YouTube videos. But the internet never forgets. Her old fans started turning on her. The same ones who believed every tear, every lie, started demanding answers. She posted one last apology video. Sat on the floor, no makeup, hoodie pulled tight, saying she was taking accountability. But it was too late. She lost everything she'd built. Meanwhile, I stayed quiet. Focused on work. Took up night shifts to avoid the noise. But not everything was perfect. I'll admit it, this whole thing changed me. I became colder. Less trusting. Even when friends said, "You won," I didn't feel like I did. I lost time. Energy. Pieces of myself I didn't know I was giving up while trying to prove I mattered. And I wasn't innocent either. I let the pain turn into obsession. I dug into her life. Took revenge, slowly and methodically. And while it felt justified, it also made me someone I didn't like seeing in the mirror. The final blow came when I got a call from Cody. She's gone. What do you mean gone? She moved. Deleted all her accounts. She's not even in Arizona anymore. Just like that, she disappeared. A ghost. No apology. No real closure. Just gone. It's been 4 months since that call. I still live in the same apartment, but it feels different. Quieter. Emptier. I see my reflection in the window sometimes and barely recognize myself. But I sleep better. I don't check my phone every 5 minutes. I don't feel the weight of someone's lies crushing my chest. And sometimes, when I drive past that coffee shop where we first met, I wonder what would have happened if I'd just kept walking that day. But then I remember, sometimes people don't show you who they are right away. They wait. And by the time they do, it's already too late. So yeah, I got my revenge. But it didn't fix everything. And it didn't make me whole. Still, I'd do it again. Because in the end, I wasn't just fighting for pride. I was fighting for peace. And now? She doesn't get to disturb it ever again.